Africa is not just a continent. Africa is the beginning. Before borders, before race, before nations. Before history books were written by outsiders, there was Africa. This is the true story of Africa from the first human to the present day. More than 200,000 years ago, before Europe had cities, before Asia had empires, before the world knew language as we know it today. The first human beings walked the earth in Africa. This isn't a theory, it's not an opinion. It's science. The oldest human fossils ever discovered, Homo sapiens, were found in East Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania. Africa is not a participant in human history. Africa is the source of human history. Every human being alive today, no matter your skin color, passport, or language, can trace their DNA back to Africa. We are not behind, we were first. As thousands of years passed, Africans didn't just survive. They organized, built, and advanced. Along the Nile River, one of the world's first great civilizations rose, ancient Egypt. And let's be clear, ancient Egypt was African. African kings, African queens, African architects, African scientists. They built pyramids that still stand thousands of years later. They practiced medicine when others believed in magic. They studied astronomy when much of the world still feared the sky. Africa was already thinking thousands of years ahead. South of Egypt, the kingdom of Kush rose, powerful enough to conquer Egypt itself and rule as the 25th dynasty. In West Africa, empires formed long before colonization. The Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, the Songhai Empire. These were not poor societies. They were global economic powers. Mansa Musa of Mali is still considered the richest human being to ever live. Adjusted for inflation. Gold, salt. Trade routes that connected Africa to Europe, the Middle East and Asia. Timbuktu was not a village. It was a center of education, with libraries holding hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. While Europe was struggling through the Dark Ages, Africa was teaching mathematics, law, astronomy, and philosophy. Across the continent, Africa was alive. In southern Africa, Great Zimbabwe built massive stone cities without mortar. In East Africa, Swahili city-states traded across the Indian Ocean. In Central Africa, powerful kingdoms like Congo governed millions. Africa was not waiting to be discovered. Africa was already connected to the world. Then came one of the darkest chapters in human history: the transatlantic slave trade. For over 400 years, millions of Africans were captured, sold, and transported across oceans like cargo. Families were destroyed, kingdoms weakened, knowledge was interrupted. Africa didn't just lose people. Africa lost engineers, farmers, leaders, artists, and builders. And still, Africa survived. Just as the continent was recovering, another storm arrived: colonization. In the late 1800s, European powers gathered in Berlin without a single African present and divided Africa like property. Borders were drawn with rulers. Cultures were split. Nations were forced together. Colonization was not about civilization. It was about resources, gold, oil, diamonds, rubber. Land Africa fed the Industrial Revolution while being told it was backward. But Africa resisted. From Jah Asantewaa in Ghana to Samori Tours in West Africa, to Menelik II of Ethiopia who defeated Italy, Africans fought back, and in the mid-20th century, Africa began to rise again. One by one, countries claimed independence. Kwame Nkrumah said it clearly: the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked to the total liberation of Africa. The dream was freedom. The challenge was unity. Post-independence Africa faced new struggles: weak institutions, foreign interference, Cold War politics, corruption, debt. Some leaders betrayed the dream. Others were removed for trying to change the system. And yet, the story didn't end. Today, Africa is the youngest continent on Earth. Over 60% of Africans are under 25. This is not a weakness. It is potential. Africa leads the world in mobile money innovation, cultural influence through music, fashion, and creativity, and has vast untapped markets and ideas. African youth are building startups with their phones. They're creating global content from their bedrooms, learning skills the world needs. The same continent that birthed humanity is reinventing itself again. Africa's history is not just pain, it is resilience. It is not just struggle, it is strength. And the future of Africa will not be written by outsiders. It will be written by Africans who know their past, understand the game, and refuse to play small. This is not the end of Africa's story. This is a new chapter. And if you are African watching this, you are part of it.